It's such good shit!
Hey, Mark Rodriguez here. We're back with the Diving Cutter podcast. It's been a while, and actually this is take two. Our first attempt last night was kind of screwy, so let's hope that we do it better this time. And alongside me is my bro, Johnny Rodriguez.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hopefully this time everything's good.
And now, to make this even more special and more badass, with more of a insider experience, you might want to say, we've got the retro rocker, shell shocker, Lord of the Thundercats that wields the power of Grayskull. He is your god of thunder and rock and roll, Rikki Roxx.
Everybody out there in podcast land, welcome back to the Rock Show. Rikki Roxx coming at you live on the Diving Cutter podcast. And real quick, we're going to have to pour one out for our boy Jack Knives, who was with us last night but won't be with us tonight. So he's with us in spirit. God knows he's got a lot on his plate, so we'll just have to do the best we can without him.
Yep, and for today's podcast here, we're going to be discussing AEW All Out, the 2020 edition. And yeah, I think they're going to actually have some people there this time, right? They're going to actually allow people to be there, I guess, in some capacity, which is a good sign that we're slowly getting out of this. So yeah, we'll give our thoughts and opinions. Macho Taco was also unavailable tonight. Last time he was the one that wrote down all the predictions, who said who and what. So I'm taking over his spot. And since Jack Knives was here yesterday, I'll put like his opinions, you know, so we can keep track of what he says or not. So we can find out if he's the one that's going to be taking the big dive into the vat of mimosa or not.
I thought the loser with the worst predictions has to sign up for Sonny's OnlyFans account.
Oh. Oh.
She's sweet. She's a sweet lady.
That's all we'll say.
She's always been nice to me. I don't sign up for anybody's OnlyFans accounts.
Okay, now, does she really have one, or we're just joking around? Because I'm kind of terrified.
I heard things, but I don't know. She's on and off of Facebook. Like, we've got real life friends in common as well. So, you know, I haven't seen her in a very long time. But so I only really for the last 5 years or so ever kept up with her through Facebook, and she's kind of been in and out because I think she's had a lot on her plate recently. So I think I heard something to that effect at some point, that she was going to get one or had one or whatever. I don't know. But I think Sarah Underwood has one. She seems like she's doing okay with it.
Okay.
That's one I might sign up for if I had money to burn. And
oh my goodness. And yeah, that OnlyFans has been causing a stir, either for or against, or you know, with everyone and people. So
especially if you used to work for Disney, that seems to work out really good.
Oh my God. Okay, so before YouTube frowns down upon us, even though
times
this
are tough, you gotta make that money, however way you can make it.
Yeah, so
if it pays that good, I'll be all out right now, brother.
Oh God.
See, now we're back on topic.
Yeah, you could say Sunny's not all in, but we want to see her all out.
Woo. Oh my.
Okay, so I don't. This might be only in the LBRY edition. I don't know. YouTube has a weird thing with OnlyFans too. They're over increasing their amount of words we can and can't say, and it's getting frustrating for a lot of people. They can't whatever. It's a thing, man. So I said we got LBRY as well. So you're listening to this on both YouTube and LBRY, guys. So let's start with the matches here. The first one we're gonna start off is the most difficult one to predict because it's yeah, we don't even know all the people in this. This is the Casino Battle Royale match as part of the buy-in. I also got notification that Jupi might be joining us later tonight, so we'll let her in when she's in here. But yeah, the Casino Battle Royale is basically 4 groups of people, and the 4 people represent like the hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds, and you get the mystery Joker person. And sometimes during this, you get people that are not even in AEW; they're like guest stars or whatever. So without knowing exactly who of all is going to be in it, it makes it very difficult to guess, like, you know, who's going to win. And the winner gets a shot at the championship. So that's kind of cool. So just right off the bat, I guess for all of these, I'll just say Jack Knives' thoughts, and then we'll go for everyone else. Jack Knives voted for Lance Archer. In my case last night, since like Darby Allin is on like the cover art of it, I voted for Darby Allin. See, the hope he wins, but that's as far as I can guess. I mean, hey, I would vote for Glazier. I would vote for Rikki Roxx to have a cameo appearance there, do some super kicks and do some moves, but
hey, you never know, man. I am probably one of the best battle royal competitors of all time, and I always love me a battle royal. Here's one thing you might not know: a lot of guys hate them, like they hate doing them. And for me, I love being in a match with a lot of people. I don't know, 3-ways, 4-ways, battle royals. A lot of guys are like, it's such a cluster, and it does make it hard to do anything. But they can also be a lot of fun. I mean, if a miscue happens, for example, nobody cares because it's just a big schmoz, right? So it's not like you just drop trow in front of the whole crowd. It's like, oops, that guy butted heads with that guy. Just go to the next thing. I think they're fun. I love them. I used to always, he asked me yesterday something that we talked briefly on, was like working multiple times a night. And I used to always, even if I had a match, I'd always do the Battle Royal too. Just because. Usually the Battle Royal would be after intermission, so I'd have 2 or 3 beers at intermission. And then I'd be like, they'd be like, we need to make the numbers for the Battle Royal. I'm like, I'm not feeling nothing. Put me out there, coach. So, like Kyle the Beast or somebody would rip me apart real quick, or, that's always fun. I really like Battle Royals because I like doing the spot. If I'm not going over, which sometimes I do, but if I'm not, I try to find, the biggest guy and call a spot with them. Because they're usually, if they're not winning it, right, they'll be like one of the last 4 guys. So I usually try to find them for a minute and be like, do you want to, get rid of me? And they love that because you're giving them something to do instead of just calling it for yourself. So I'll be like, why don't we do the thing where I hit you 3 times and then you just one-arm me or whatever. And that always goes over big. Bull James actually did that to me last year at the Monster Factory during their Turkey Slam Battle Royal. They had 40 people in 2 rings. That was awesome. And I'm sure you know Bull James, right, from NXT and all that?
Yeah. Now, was this the one that was part of your big comeback sometime last year?
Yeah, that was my big comeback after another injury break. And he was one of the first dudes I ran into. Smith. It was Smith James, who we know him by. But, obviously they changed it later on. But he was big up here for years and years and years. He was one of the first guys I met when I broke in. So it always was a lot of fun to see him. And I hadn't seen him since before the NXT deal. So I went up to him in the back. I said, so you want to get rid of me? And he's like, yeah, what do you – because I don't remember who went over, but I know he was at the end. So I was like, you want to get rid of me? And we'll do the thing, and I'll just, hit you a couple times. You just no-sell it, and you're just like, fuck this guy, and just one-arm me. And it came off really good. We had never actually worked together in a formal sense, just been on the same show. So that was a big highlight for me because I always wanted to work with the guy. And then a few years ago, me and Joe Gibson, he was another factory guy. He was a big 6'8", 300-pound bruiser Brody type dude. He's awesome. 2014 or 15, I can't remember, but we did the Turkey Slam, and he tossed one guy out, and then he picked me up and he threw me almost into the front row. He legitimately Ultimate Warriored me. And it was the pictures are even insane because the hang time I get, right? It's amazing. And to this day, people are like, how did you not die? And whenever me and Joe get together and we talk, it was like, remember that time I almost killed you? Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, so I love Battle Royals. You never know, man. If I got the call, I'd be there in a heartbeat. But, we'll see what happens. But like Johnny said, with tomorrow, it's tomorrow, right? It's Saturday, not Sunday?
Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah, with that one, not knowing everybody who's in it is the big variable. So that's why I split my vote, kind of. I did see where Knives was coming from because when it comes to a guy like Hoyt, Archer, whatever, he's one of the bigger dudes. He's got the experience. He's tall and built, and that always looks good in a battle royal when you got to clean a bunch of guys out real quick. So even if he doesn't win it, I think he's going to have a strong showing. I think I was pretty much set with Darby Allin as well for the same reason you said. It seems like they're really big on him, and they've been promoting him heavy, and they've been really kind of showcasing him while looking for that big breakout moment, and I think that Battle Royal win could be it for him. But on the other side, for all we know, one of the dark horses, one of those 6 people we don't know, could come in and take the whole thing. We could have a Joey Janela or a Sonny Kiss make an appearance, and I wouldn't be shocked if either of them were in it. In fact, I expect they will be, because they've been on TV lately, right? But they haven't really had too much in-ring. Am I correct?
Yeah, not too much.
But they've been doing the vignettes and everything, so even Joey or Sonny coming in, both of whom I know pretty well, I'd say, they would immediately, just by showing up, be considered the favorite. So I kind of split my vote. I could say Darby Allin is probably my pick among the ones they've announced. But I reserve the right that one of those 6 mystery guys could come in. Hey, for all we know, isn't Brock a free agent now?
Oh, what's his name? Jack Knives would lose his shit if Brock Lesnar came to AEW.
Did old Tony Khan dip deep into the pocket there and pull out a miracle?
Oh, God.
I guess we'll find out.
Oh, Rusev. Rusev would rock. Rusev would be the best one because, I mean, that this all-out event actually falls on Rusev Day, so it'd be the perfect day for Rusev to show up, right?
I guess it would. As anybody else, why the fuck does Tony Khan look so much like Orville Redenbacher's kid?
Yeah, I know.
Once I noticed that, now I can't stop looking at this fucking guy. He either looks like that or he ought to be playing bass for Weezer or some shit.
I know. I mean, he just looks like a big geek that I guess grew up with wrestling, and hey, now I could get my own wrestling federation. And
I'm sure he's a nice guy. He seems to have a lot of great ideas. Execution, that's probably not all up to him. You know, I just think he kind of, I don't know, he gets a little too excited sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
I guess you gotta be. Like you said, you know, he's a big kid and he's got a bunch of really awesome toys, and then I'd probably be the same way. I just couldn't get over it. The other day, I'm just looking at this picture of this guy, and I was like, he looks like the popcorn guy. The glasses and everything.
Oh,
like,
God. So what say you, Johnny?
Okay, so I think I'm just gonna go with everybody's else prediction. Darby Allin.
Darby Allin.
Yeah.
It's not like you said Darby Allin, and I don't think he has a talk show.
Darby Allin.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I know. This sounded like I said Arby.
No, I mean Darby Allin. But you said like Darby Allin, like if Darby has his own talk show.
Oh, no. Because we all know Eden is canceled.
Oh, my goodness.
So, pretty much sounds like of the announced, we got 3 for Darby. Jack is with Hoyt, which isn't a bad pick. I can't help call him Hoyt. I seen him back in like 2005. You know, he used to come out and everybody go, Hoyt, Hoyt, Hoyt. And he had that tramp stamp tattoo. That's the one thing I like the guy, I do, but even back then, he comes out and they were pushing him hard, and he's out there giving the big boots and everything and choke slamming people, and I was like, why does this guy have the same tattoo as that chick working at the fucking Cumberland Farms? Like, it just don't look right on a dude, man. It just don't. I don't know. There's when it comes to getting tattoos, right? There's places where guys get them and places where girls get them. And it's okay, like some spots are neutral, like the arm. But like back in my day, if you were a dude and you got a tattoo on your lower back or your ankle or something, it meant you were kind of sensitive.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm old-fashioned.
Oh, boy. Okay, so, so it's mostly Darby Allin against Lance Archer here with Knives. Let's see if that earns him his spot in the Mimosa Pit. But right now, we've got the next match here, which I don't know, because it was supposed to be in the in the buy-in as well. But now I'm hearing from from Rikki Roxx that it might actually be on the actual show. But this is Big Swole.
Before we get to that, they added. Well, we're still on the buy-in. Why don't we stick to that? It looks like what they added to the buy-in was Private Party versus Dark Order's Alex Reynolds and John Silver. So that's the match that's replacing Britt Baker and Big Swole, since that match got bumped up. So
let me.
It's gonna be interesting because Knives isn't here to talk about this one, but yeah, apparently it's Private Party versus the Dark Order in tag team action. Oh boy!
Yeah, give me those 2 Dark Order guy names again.
Alex Reynolds and John Silver.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So that's an extra one that wasn't there from last night.
Yeah, they apparently announced that this afternoon. Now, you are going to be way more familiar than I am with any of these bets.
Sorta. I don't know much. I was about to ask you about Alex Reynolds and John Silver. I don't know how they're being portrayed, because I know that aside from Stu and Evil Uno, and I guess Anna Jay, most of the Dark Order are kind of like just random faceless goons, and they're always treated as extra jobbers or whatever, when in my opinion they kind of should not be, because I mean, dude, you got numbers, take advantage of them, because you look more badass with numbers of cool people instead of numbers of throwaways, so I don't know. I'm thinking the thing about AEW is that so many of their people wrestle more in dark than the actual show. Like, we got the zombie girl Abandoned making big waves, but she's only in dark. We've got Sunny Kiss is mostly always on dark. That was a big surprise when Sunny.
I hear a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
because I know a lot of the names, and I read if I don't watch it, sometimes I read the transcripts and whatnot, and I'm always amazed kind of at who's on and who's not on which show.
Yeah, I think in this case, Private Party's gonna get the benefit of my doubt, because I at least know those guys. Those are cool. Most of the time, not counting Mr. Brody Lee and all them, the rest of the Dark Order guys are kind of sort of a joke, unfortunately. Like, they got the numbers games, but on their own, so I don't really know how good these guys are. I mean, this might be their big chance to show off, to a greater audience and win me over, maybe. But yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Dark Order, because I don't know about these other guys.
Well, Private Party, again, I've heard a lot about them. I've heard more than I've seen. Unfortunately, because again, it's hard to tell who's going to be on what show. Sometimes they're on dark, sometimes they're on the regular show. I'm going to have to say, based on the little I know of each, just by the fact that the Dark Order is part of a faction, and that always helps, I'm going to say that's going to work in their favor, and I'll say Dark Order takes that match on the buy-in.
All right, so that's 2 for... Oh, wait, no, you said Dark Order. Okay. Yeah, let me put that in here.
Yeah, I'm going to say they're going to take it just because it always helps to have the numbers on your side in one of these tag matches. You can have 2 teams, but one team is just a team and the other one's part of a faction. So in those instances, you kind of always have to give it to the numbers. Unless you're Demolition going against the Powers of Pain and Mr. Fuji, in which case Demolition just can't be stopped. So
yeah, I know.
They just totally break that rule, but that's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
That's why the Freebirds always travel as a pack. We can't forget that. It might have been Terry and Buddy Jack, but they always had Bam Bam in the back just waiting,
Yeah, I remember.
So, Johnny, what about this one on the buy-in? We got the Dark Order. That was my pick just because of the numbers game. Against Private Party in a tag team match.
Wow, this is so last minute. To be honest, I'm very out of the loop with both people. So, I'm going to play this. I'm going to gamble with this, like if it's a lottery. I don't know. I think the Dark Order. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think that numbers game is going to be tough to overcome. I mean, they are part of the group.
I mean, I want to change it to Dark Order, but I'm going to stick with Private Party just in case. You never know. Might be the outlier. But
I mean, they could use it. They could use a big one.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Okay. So now that we got the two buy-in matches, we'll go back to the original lineup, I guess, for the actual show, which I guess it got bumped up. So yeah, so now we've got Big Swole versus Britt Baker, MD. Did you know she's a dentist, by the way? And they'll be fighting at her turf now, a tooth and nail match in her own dental office. And apparently, we don't know yet, but there's rumors. There's that, Rikki Roxx heard this and Jackknife's heard that, but we don't know if it's going to be a regular match or a, pre-recorded cinematic match, maybe a mixture of both. I don't know. But what do you guys think?
Well, I'll go first on this one because I just happen to be looking at it right now. It said as of this afternoon, which is the article I'm reading, it says that President Tony Khan announced that the cinematic bout between Britt Baker and Big Swole was moved to the main card. So, again, that seems to very strongly hint at another one of these mini-movies posing as a wrestling match, which I was very clear, and I kind of went on a little bit about it yesterday, but I'll say it up again. I don't like the idea in general. I think there's only a couple times when it works. I think it kind of works when you're like The Undertaker or Matt Hardy. Otherwise, anybody can make a movie. Not anybody can have a good wrestling match. So, already kind of rolling my eyes a little bit, like, oh, how are they going to do this one? Because you kind of already can guess some of the things they're going to do. But, given that, and just the fact the gimmick match usually favors the person who either came up with the gimmick or would thrive in the environment, I'm going to have to say Britt Baker, because, again, if it's in her office, I mean, if it were me, I'd gimmick the whole place. I'd have, the chair set up with the mummy straps to hold you down like a straitjacket. I'd have, laughing gas coming through the fucking air vents. I'd have the whole thing rigged in my favor. So if I'm Britt Baker and I'm going into that, I'm probably going to try something along those lines. So I'm going to have to give it to Britt. It's her house. It's her home turf. She's probably going to take it.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I want a laughing gas spot. That would be so funny. Laughing gas spot. And yeah. Now the only thing I'm thinking is it would make more sense if Swole strapped Britt Baker down to the dental chair, and because you can always have Reba come in and stop it before she actually does anything. But I don't see anyone saving Big Swole if she gets strapped down. She's getting a root canal, there's no saving her.
I want to see Britt Baker. I want them to do a spot straight out of Blue Velvet. I want her to strap Swole down to the chair, and then Baker, like Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet, takes a hit off the fucking laughing gas just so she can get really hyped up to kick her ass even more. That would be fantastic.
Oh, man.
Going crazy with the gas mask.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, I'm also going to go with Britt Baker. Now, the thing is, she's still injured, so she's still in her wheelchair. And one thing I said before is I think this might be the big match where she finally... she'll still be in the wheelchair here and there and have her, I guess, her gimmicks and Reba work for her or whatever, but I think this will be the part that she'll stand up and reveal that she's already okay, and, that'll be the big surprise. That might actually get her to win, because that'll catch Big Swole off guard. But yeah, because we all know that's going to happen. We all know she's not going to just come out and announce it. She's going to, whenever the hell she's, I guess, fit to wrestle normally, she'll still play possum, pretend she's still in a wheelchair, and then stand up and surprise you. So I'm thinking Britt Baker got it because home field advantage, and also because that might be her big spot to show the world that she's back. I mean, she's been out on this for how long now? It's been a good couple of months already, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so I think it's...
It is the kind of...
I mean, I don't know...
The kind of moment pay-per-views are made for, those big dramatic moments like that, so I can definitely see that.
Yeah, and I'm no doctor, but I'm saying it. I mean, it's been enough time.
Well, I mean, there's, Brutus Beefcake shaved Ron Bass's head in August of '88, and by January of '89 he was still bald with a scalp. So, Wrestling doesn't always. Bob Orton had that cast on for 500 years. I think he still wears it sometimes. Like when he's got to go out and like get discount bus fare or whatever. Just like,
Oh God.
come on, man, I got a broken arm. Can I go see? I can wrestle.
Oh my God.
Still wearing that cast. So yeah, but she probably will milk that injury to a point. But yeah, I could see that big dramatic reveal happening also. Like it would go over big. It's a good pay-per-view moment.
Did Bob Orton ever take off that cast and clobber someone with it or whatever?
I mean, he used to clobber. See, to me, it's more effective. He used to clobber guys while he still was wearing it.
Oh God!
Because if it's hollow, that's one thing. But if your arm is still in it, it's like when Heenan used to always point it out. Sometimes a guy takes off his boot and hits you with it, and Heenan would always be like, "I'd rather keep my foot in that boot and use it that way." It seems to make more sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially if you're Conan, but everything he does sucks.
Who? K-Dog?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Oh, dude, he's one of our favorites, man. He's Vatos Locos forever.
He threw a shoe, man. Who throws a shoe?
Was it doing it at George Bush?
Yeah, that was his fucking high spot in TNA. That was his one high spot. He'd fucking duck a clothesline and throw his shoe, and they'd have to sell it. I'm like, what the hell, man? You guys take the piss out of a leg drop for a finish. This guy's throwing a shoe with people. Fuck that.
Well, what about he had the Tequila Sunrise in WCW. What happened to that?
That was cool, but he stopped doing that. He stopped doing that for some reason. I liked that. Well, you know what I liked better than the Tequila Sunrise was the Ziploc, even though I don't even think he knew how to put that shit on. That was a submission finish back in like 94, 95, where he'd tie up the guy's arms and legs with his own arms and legs, but I guess I know why he stopped doing it, because it always he looked like Shawn Michaels trying to put on a fucking basic hold. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, backflips, I got that shit, but a hold? Fuck me, where's my instruction book? And fucking Shawn Michaels over there. Like, every time he had to put on the sharpshooter, the guy told him how to do it. Like, wrong leg, boys. Like, Jesus.
No,
so, yeah.
God.
But I thought once Conan got it applied, I thought the Ziploc was pretty cool, but I only seen him do it a couple times because he looked thoroughly vexed by it.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, well, why is that your finish then? You don't know how to do it.
So instead of like, Arriba la raza, now it's like, Arriba el zapato, those a shoe at your ass.
I fucking hate Conan. I'm sorry, I gave him a chance. I liked him when he came into WCW because I read so much about him. And they talked so much about what Big Star he was in Mexico and everything, but I seen him a couple times on Nitro. He had a pretty good match with Devin Storm, who was my boy, and after that it was like, and he never had a good match again. So I don't know. Maybe it was different pre-95, but I can't speak to that.
So, your thoughts on the Big Swole match, Johnny?
Well, I think I'm gonna agree with you guys. I mean, this is a match pretty much, for Rex Baker, and I think she's gonna do the reveal. She's gonna think the thing, still kind of sort of, but not that bad. So she'll reveal that, hey, I'm good now, and they're gonna really hype her up so that I guess she'll be wrestling more matches for AEW. So I predict she's gonna probably win this.
Now
that's 3 for Bray. What did Jack say about?
He also said Baker. So all 4 of us voted for Baker.
Yeah, you're unanimous for Britt Baker. I mean, I think it'd be cool to see, like, oh man, if they're making a movie out of it, they need to just go full tilt and do stuff with like the drills and the scraper. Spit and rinse, all that shit.
Spit and rinse.
Fucking ups and downs, backs and fronts, get them.
My God.
I mean, why the fuck else are they in a dentist's office? You better make them wear that fucking smock.
Have throw one of them like into the like face first into the sink or something, and be like, don't forget to spit and rinse and whatever.
Strangle her with the fucking dental floss.
Oh God!
Right, fuck it now. Now this is gonna be the match of the night. Watch.
Oh man!
Make that the fucking main event. See these bitches strangling each other with mint flavored dental floss. Cinnamon, better. Cinnamon burns. Get it in your eyes.
And then like strap them to the chair and like, looks like this one's gotta come out.
That's awesome. Oh God, I hope they do that spot. I hope that somebody I hope they do. Like when the fucking circus used to come to your school in elementary school, and they'd have the two clowns do the fucking tooth pulling gimmick and take the big pliers and they pull out the fucking fake tooth. And they'd be like, "You pulled the wrong one." Like, I hope they do some variation of that fucking spot. That'd be terrible, but awesome.
Oh man, they did a similar spot once. I forgot who it was. I forgot who was the unlucky victim. I think it was I remember it was one of the cuter girls, I think it was Yuka Sakazaki or someone. It was either her or Riho before she became champ. But, Britt Baker actually, busted her tooth, or, I don't know, kayfabe, not kayfabe, whatever. Actually busted her tooth over, the ring ropes. I think it was, the thing where her mouth, is biting onto the rope, and then she either kicks the rope or kicks her directly or whatever. And it just looks so graphic because it was one of the more, cuter, more petite competitors compared to the more rougher, tougher ones that look like they could take such a spot. It just looks so graphic to see them lose their tooth that way, and it really just made Britt Baker look so so much of a heel.
You know what spot I would call if this was me, and especially if it was a cinematic match? If they don't do this, they're stupid, because I'm telling you, this is fucking money, right? Because Britt Baker, she is like a dentist, right? That's a shoot, or is that?
Oh no, that's a shoot. That's a real job too.
So here's what you do, right? She's beating the shit out of Big Swole. She's up, right? She's getting her shine on. She's got her shine box ready, and she's pummeling her. And all of a sudden, the fucking secretary pages her, right? And she says her fucking 315 is here. So Britt fucking drags Swole out and fucking drops her ass in the fucking waiting room and goes to work on somebody else for fucking 20 minutes, and then comes back and resumes kicking her ass.
Oh, God.
If they don't do that, they're fucking stupid. That is fucking money, dude. That's how you booked it. See, this is why me and Cornette need to fucking find some money mark and start our own fed, because this should get over.
Just don't go full Cornette, though.
You never go full Cornette. He's right. And I'm telling you, he'd agree with me. That would be fucking either the best thing ever, or we'd never.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He'd have a heart attack. He'd be like, man, what are these fools doing? They got the dentist stuff, and what? This is wrestling. This is not a three-ring circus. Now, I expect this kind of stuff out of Olivier and Pockets, but not from Britt Baker. What the fuck are these guys doing?
But see, because he'd be the guy to filter all my shitty ideas into something good. But that is a good one, though. If you're going to do this mud play costume crap, this mud show outlaw bullshit, at least Eddie Gilbert had the decency to really hit Jerry Lawler with his fucking car. So the thing is, you gotta commit to the bit. So yeah, fucking whip her ass. Dr. Baker, your 315 is here. Fucking shit can Swole. Go pop out a wisdom tooth, drag her back in, and go right back to kicking her ass. That's how I took it.
And then show scenes of Swole just sitting next to the lady that's reading a magazine to pass the time or whatever.
Yeah, right. Oh, God. See, this is the shit. This is why it's good we had to take two, because I don't know why I didn't think of that yesterday. I'm kicking myself now.
Oh, man. Okay, so I guess it's a clean sweep for Britt Baker. We'll see what happens and everything. And, okay. So then let me move all this around, because this private party thing kind of shifted all my stuff around. So the next match we had was Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara, broken rules match, whatever that means, and really clarify. But the big stipulation is that if Matt Hardy loses, he's got to leave AEW for good. And right away, I'll say that Jack Knives actually voted for Guevara for his skill and his up-and-coming, status. In my book, I also voted for Guevara because of the two of them, I kind of see that Matt can leave just for the suspense that, oh my God, he's gone. but then he could just come back the next day as one of his other multiple personalities. They could use that as an excuse. I forgot that name he used, that Spartacus, whatever type name. Damascus, yes. So they could like have him leave, be banned, or whatever the fuck you want to say, and just come back on next episode of Dynamite. Oh no, that was Hardy of the Broken. No, I am Damascus as someone else, whatever,
I could totally see that being a thing they would do. There is always it's a very, without being condescending, it's a very AEW kind of thing to do. Because they could do that. And it's not a new thing either. I mean, they did that all the way back in, the NWA and the territories.
Well, I mean, to this day, we never know who Mr. America is.
Or the Midnight Rider, even. Although I'm pretty sure Brian Pillman was Dirty Yellow Dog, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Midnight Rider, I don't know if we ever saw him take off the mask.
Yeah.
He sure sounded like Dusty, but, so it's not a new thing. And in wrestling, that loophole exists for a reason. So yeah, I could see Sammy Guevara taking it and giving Matt the opportunity to come back and freshen up his gimmick a little bit with one of his other personas. Like you said, there's also things we don't know too much about what is a Broken Rules match. I think it's sort of like a last man standing.
That might be. It might. I'm assuming weapons and maybe like falls count anywhere or something, but.
I mean, if it's a typical Hardy style gimmick match, they could do any number of things. We've seen him transform mid-match before. If he gets stuck in water, that might happen. We don't know. We don't know if other participants could end up involved. He's got a lot of friends. We could see some of those people cameo. You never know. You never know what you're getting with Matt Hardy anymore, and that's kind of what makes him entertaining to watch, even though not all of it's always to my taste. But, I've met Matt a bunch of times. I've been on shows with him. He's always been a great guy. I've had dinner with him in Reby once or twice, and, always a real sweetheart. So I could see any number of things happening, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to keep my same pick from yesterday. And I'm going to give it to Matt Hardy just because he's kind of on the upswing right now. It'd be a weird place to see him take a loss. But again, even if he does, it'll probably lead to something very soon down the road anyway. I'm just going to say, I don't know, my gut's telling me Matt for some reason. But we'll see what happens. But I'm not changing my pick. I'm staying with Matt Hardy on that.
Now, you did mention that that you always preferred Matt Hardy like as a singles guy. Like if you compare like the Hardy Boys, you're a bigger fan of just Matt as opposed to like Matt or Jeff. And
yeah, I always thought Matt was a better worker, and I always liked his style better. He was more of a wrestler worker than a daredevil. Jeff never really appealed to me that much. He definitely knows his thing and he does it well, but as far as actual execution, I always thought Matt was a lot tighter. I always thought he had a lot more on the ball with that. And I always had more fun watching him, and I always kind of was annoyed that Jeff got all the attention, because I always thought Matt was just better. I think his character's better, just in general. He's more versatile, we've seen that, I mean, Jeff has done things like with the Willow gimmick and everything else, but I don't know. I didn't really like that either. I've never been a big Jeff Hardy guy. I was always up to two. I'll take Matt all day, every day, pretty much. And it helps he's a nice guy.
What do you think, Johnny?
Okay, so I think like what I said yesterday, that they really do want to hype up Sammy Guevara, so I think he's going to win the match. Yeah.
So pretty much sounds like most everybody except May is going for Guevara, and that's okay. We'll see what happens. I definitely see the logic in it, so.
And you also got to keep in mind that Jake Hager is going to be probably crawling around. I've noticed that between them, Hager's always around Jericho and Guevara, so he's going to probably be creeping around.
Yeah, he's in the mix. I mean, that's good that they're, in some form or fashion. It was like, for so long, he was with that other company, and it was like, God, he still works there, huh? Wow. Not that there's any fault of his. It was just like, God,
and that's the thing, like, every year, WWE does their little chopping block session, and half the time, all these names, you're like, what? They were still working with them? What?
It just didn't seem like, at some point, it totally feels like they just, well, we don't want them to go somewhere else. So we'll just keep giving them that mailbox money, but creative has nothing for you.
And that's one of the things. I know a lot of people gave Ryback a lot of flack and everything, but I kind of agree his point in the terms, or at least how WWE operates. Because wrestling is, we'll just say the outcomes are mostly predetermined. So the thing is, like, you have no control, like with creative and stuff. You have no control unless, I guess if you're like The Rock or whatever, yeah. But if you're like, let's say Bo Dallas, he's got no say. He can't like go to Vince's office and be like, yo, I demand, put me in a big feud with Randy Orton or someone that matters or whatever, Vince would just kick him out.
Stuck with what they give you.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so the thing is, if you're stuck, which kind of goes with Cody and as Stardust, if you're like a star, they give you a shitty gimmick and they force you into the shitty gimmick, and then like you get a losing streak, you're making an ass of yourself, people laugh at you, they don't take you seriously anymore, you're almost like a glorified jobber and all that stuff. So you end up like selling less and less merch and whatever, and you're basically doing what you're told. So it's not no fault of your own. You're doing what you're told. You're going to fight, whatever. And then comes the chopping block next year, and your ass is fired. But it's like you got no control, and that's one of the things that Ryback was.
What could you have done to prevent that? And I just read about that with just today. On today's Wrestle Crap article was all about the last year of the revival in WWE, and it's like, oh man, they treated them terribly, but they both wanted to utilize them while they were under contract so they wouldn't leave because they were trying to leave. And we'll talk more about them later on because they got a match at the pay-per-view, but they weren't able to leave, and basically creative, whoever that might be, we're like, well, we got you for at least another year, so what we'll do is we'll keep you around, but we'll make you look really bad. So that way, if you do end up leaving, you're not worth anything to anybody. And they try to do that all the time. It's just really annoying and petty. Because, we all know what's at work. Or at least we should know. So it's like, okay, yeah, it does affect to a point. Like, okay, if somebody who doesn't understand how wrestling works, like, would turn on Impact and they would see Eric Young win the world title, and they're like, Eric Young, last time I saw him, he was a job guy in WWE, now he's a world champion this other place. But that's if you don't know how wrestling works. If you know how wrestling works, it's like, yeah, well, that's a spot that he maybe could have been in anywhere, but they kept him low because they knew they weren't going to keep him, and they just knew that they had to devalue him in some way. So that when, and not if, but when he went somewhere else, at least a few people wouldn't take him seriously. And it's just so friggin' petty, because we all see right through that shit, but that's the biz.
Oh yeah, I was wondering, your experience in WWE, how long were you allowed to, do your gimmick? Like, how was that dealt with?
Well, I mean, I never worked there. I never worked for WWE. I just know a lot. I've worked with a lot of people who have.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of know some of what's been going on. Now, I'm just a local New Jersey guy. I just work around here. I mean, my gimmick was interesting. On the indies, one of two things happen. You either have a really good idea at what you'd be good at, and you try to lean into that and hope it gets over. Or, and here's where a lot of guys, unfortunately, don't take initiative, they're just so happy to be there, and they don't really think too hard about it. They just want to wrestle. They don't really come up with a gimmick or a persona or even a name, and you'll see it, like, because their look won't be good. They'll be, like, very basic gear, very minimalist, and, very generic looking, or maybe they'll just be a cartoon. I've noticed that one of the worst things you could do is not come up with anything for yourself, because somebody else will, and if they do, they're not going to try to come up with something that's going to get you over. It's going to be something to make them laugh and amuse themselves, whether it's the promoter or just the guys who broke you in, because everybody's always giving each other shit and ribbing each other. When I broke in, because since I had the long hair and everything, guys were trying to push me to do like a fucking janitor gimmick. Like
What?
a janitor kind of gimmick, and I just put my foot down on that immediately because I saw what they were doing. And they were like, come on, it'd be funny. And I'm like, well, to you, maybe. Not to me, and not to my dad, who's fucking dying. He passed away like a year, not even 6 months after I started wrestling. The only time he really left the house was to come see me wrestle. I says, I'm not fucking doing that shit. I was nicer about it than that because I hadn't even had a match yet. So you don't want to push too hard. And it wasn't coming from the boss. It was coming from the main event guys for the company. They were really like, this is what you should do. Like, no, I'm not doing that. They're like, what do you think you should do then? You're so great. I'm like, I'll come up with something better than that, I can promise you. So I've always had the same gimmick. They switched the name a couple times early on. First it was Rikki Roxx, then Rose, then Roxx the same weekend, and they couldn't really decide on that at first. Because at first I think the one guy thought it would be funny if like I was Axl Rose's cousin or something. Oh. So they said, yeah, it's Rikki Rose, but then they dropped it. I think part of it was that we had Rikki Roxx a lot right before she went to TNA as Roxy. You probably remember her.
Yeah.
So she had been working for the company a lot under her Rikki Roxx character. And then we were still getting her back like once or twice a year while she was with TNA. A lot of people used to do that. We used to get Robbie E. when he would be on an off week or whatever. We got Mr. Anderson. A lot of guys, Nash, if they were having an off week with TNA, they'd come up and work for us in New Jersey for 2 or 3 days. And so she was still coming back. And I think one of the promoters was like, Rikki Roxx, that'll be cool. But nothing ever came of it. Like, we were both kind of hoping they would team us up. They used to do an intergender tag team tournament every year. But then that next year, they didn't do it. We thought that was going to be the gimmick, but it didn't happen. So yeah, I bought the gear I wanted to use because I kind of knew how I should look. And if you show up with a gimmick, that helps because then they can't give you one. And then I just wrote a bunch of names on a piece of paper and gave them to the boss. And I said, you can mix that up any way you wanted to, and that'll be fine because you're the one paying me. But, you know, something from that list would be nice. It could have been Bulletproof Shane Steele. It could have been any number of things, but he liked Retro Rocker Rikki Roxx because of the all R's right in a row. That's basically what it came down to. And then, you know what's the funniest thing? He announced this at the diner after the show one night because I was kind of like the pet project of a couple bit of the pool. Was it the pool party? I can't even remember. But anyway, a bunch of the guys were kind of taking me under their wing, bringing me up. So when I finally got my shot, like, hey, you're wrestling next week. A few guys were happy about it, and it was sort of a proclamation. And the promoter was like, so we're going to call you Retro Rocker Rikki Roxx. That's the name I came up with for this kid. And of all the people, I shit you not, Janella, it's like, that fucking sucks. I think it was the pool party. We were hanging out by the pool. He's like, that sounds like a fucking Flintstone character. That's retarded. And, you know, he had a habit of kind of taking a piss out of things, and Dapper, that was the guy's name. He's like, we'll make it work. Don't worry about it. And it's been the same ever since. Sometimes I change my jacket a little bit, or I add a little bit of flair, but it's still the same gimmick. I knew what I wanted to be, so I didn't really let too many people tell me what they thought I should be. Because as long as you have ideas for yourself, anything else you can take under advisement. If you don't believe in yourself, that's how these guys get stuck with these lousy gimmicks and shit. Like the Revival, and again, we'll come back to their match in a second, but when they were up there, I got to think they must have been making pretty good money for the shit they went through. Because if you go on WrestleCrap and you look at the newest article, they have artwork of their new gimmick they were supposed to wear, and it was the most ridiculous thing. They were supposed to come out looking like friggin' Flava Flav.
Oh no!
A clock around his neck and a fucking cat in a hat, top hat, and bow ties, and like they were trying to make him look stupid on purpose. And they said, yeah, we'll do it as long as you keep paying us. And that's when they fired him. I think they were just trying to push him to their breaking point to see what it would take to get him to quit, and then they could sue him or whatever. I don't fucking know. But it was obvious they were trying to break him, and they were like, fine, we'll do it. Just pay us. We're like, nah, we'd rather just fire you. But I'm just like, dude, you guys could have just walked and gone anywhere, which is what they did, I suppose. But I guess they wanted to leave the right way. It's never good to quit. It's always better to be fired than quit, I guess. Because then you're not difficult. Although the opposite is true, too. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying.
Oh, man. All right, so moving on, so we can get closer and closer to FDR. We got everyone's favorite tag team, the Young Bucks, going up against Jurassic Express, which is the super awesome Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. And, yeah, so what do you guys think? Oh, let me just say real quick. Jack Knives voted for Jurassic Express. And what do you guys say?
Well, Johnny, I think you can take this one first.
Okay, so I actually changed my mind. Because I
you remember who your pick was?
I remember who I chose yesterday, but I changed my mind because I actually think that the Jurassic Park is pretty good. I mean, the Jungle Boy is a really good wrestler. Like, he's really started this whole wrestling. It's really showing, like a lot of good, like, promise for this. So I think they're gonna try to hype him up, So I don't know. I'm gonna give it a chance with the Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Express.
Yeah, that was.
I'm sorry, not Jurassic Park. Jurassic Express. My bad.
Yeah, it's not the same as Arn Anderson and Terry Funk teaming up back in WCW. Jurassic Express is different. So I will say, when it comes down to Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy versus the Dumb Fucks, the Young Bucks, we gotta have. I think, my opinions on the Bucks being what they are, we went over it yesterday, and just in brief, not my kind of wrestling. Back in my day, when it was me throwing it, it only took one super kick to kill a guy. But that's neither here nor there. I think the blend of size and power with the Luchasaurus, as well as the speed and agility of Jungle Boy, like you said, he's come a long way in a short time. I think that might be enough to give them a little bit of an edge in this one. And I think Knives pointed out, too, that the Bucks might be kind of looking to make a bit of a switch in personality or style going forward, so that's something to look out for here as well. I think something might happen, maybe push in that direction or trigger that. Personally, I'm going to say Jurassic Express, partly because I think they're due for a big one, and also I always get a chuckle of seeing Road Warrior Buck and other Road Warrior Buck take an L.
Okay.
So I'm going with Jurassic Express on that.
Yeah. And like I said, my brief version is I'm gonna go for the Young Bucks, not so much because I want them to win. I think they're cool and stuff, but like they're starting to become like the John Cena kind of thing. Like at first, when they had that big tag team tournament and they actually had Private Party beat them, I was like surprised. I was like, holy shit, this is like, damn, that like it's more unpredictable. But now it's like it's almost always a foregone conclusion that the Young Bucks are gonna win. The only time they seem to lose lately is if they're like in some even larger tag team, like the Full Elite. You got Omega and Hangman with them too, something like that. But if it's the Young Bucks on their own, they almost always win. So despite me being a bigger fan of Jurassic Express, I love Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Yeah, he's awesome. His matches with MJF like really showed off what he could do. But yeah, they're gonna probably give the win to the Young Bucks because they're starting to sort of get the Super Cena effect. I'll say they're not Super Cena if they actually lose this one, but I'm gonna give it to the Bucks because I don't know, they seem to be on a almost unstoppable streak at this point, for better or for worse.
Well, I mean that happens when you give yourself an offer. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're good buddies with the vice president and all that.
I mean, aren't they vice presidents? Aren't they like the vice president thing or something? I don't. Everybody up there's got a title.
Yeah.
Do they got a parking spot with their name on it too?
Probably.
Over at AEW Tower or wherever the home base is.
Oh God. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So now
I miss real quick. I miss back in the day when wrestling companies' headquarters had cool names like Titan Tower or even CNN Center sounded cool. Like, where's AEW headquarters?
I really don't know what it's called.
Why don't they got a cool, ominous sounding thing that sounds like a super villain lair? Titan Tower. It's 4 stories, but whatever, you know.
it's like the Legion of Doom. Meanwhile, at the Titan Tower.
Well, Vince is a super villain, so it's perfect.
Oh my God.
If anybody in the fucking business is a super villain, it's fucking Vince McMahon. Jesus.
All right, everyone, we gotta talk about how we're gonna take over the wrestling world, and you better have ideas that are good shit or you're fired.
I mean, although Vern Gagne also killed a guy, but at least he had dementia.
Oh God. All right, so basically speaking, with Johnny changing his mind, I'm the only one going for the Young Bucks. Everyone else, including Jack Knives, is going for Jurassic Express. And next big match we have here is for the Tag Team Championship. We got Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, who are the current Tag Team Champs, going up against FTR, or whatever it stands for, because it stands for something different every week, I guess. In this case, Jack Knives did go for FTR. And my point, I also went with FTR because on one side, they're pretty big, they're pretty hyped up in AEW. They got a lot of fanfare, so I think this could be their big shot to win. Omega and Hangman have been champions for long enough, so yeah, it's a good time to drop the titles. And Hangman, it's a weird disconnect. On one side, Omega kind of sort of wants to be a heel again, I guess, in this weird way. Like it's weird because he doesn't do things maliciously, but it's kind of like the match is over and he wants to keep beating down on the guy that they just beat, and they stop him. He's like, what am I doing? You know? And it's weird. It's kind of like Fat Tony from The Simpsons, like Fat Tony, what am I doing? What, you know? It's weird.
That's actually what Jack Knives brought up when we did the first round yesterday. He mentioned how that's kind of harkening back to the cleaner persona he used in Japan, which is interesting.
Interesting.
And he was pointing out how both Omega and Page are kind of sliding back into some of their earlier sort of proto gimmicks that they haven't really showcased much yet in AEW. So that was kind of his reasoning for thinking. He did call it for FTR, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I'm giving for FTR because they're going to be a more united unit. Well, both me and Knives called for FTR because
I think Knives said he expects them to split and do their own kind of different gimmick after this match.
Yeah. And another thing to take in mind is, for whatever the hell reason, maybe because they all like to drink together or something, Hangman seems to get along better with FTR than Omega does. So that's a weird thing where Omega seems better with the Young Bucks, the Elite, and Hangman's kind of like the odd man out. He's kind of excluding himself from it, but he's more buddy with FTR, while Omega's not they don't like Omega and whatever. So I think, it's all that's gonna cause them to not function properly as they should as an actual team. FTR will probably get the win. The house, they're gonna just rock the house down with that if they win the belt. So I'm gonna give it to FTR and everything. And let's see what Johnny thinks real quick.
Okay, so my opinion didn't really change much, so I'm still going to root for Kenny Omega and Page. I think he might have a shot of winning the match, but because Kenny and Page have a huge disconnect, I think something's going to happen. Even though they win, it's just something's going to happen. So that would be interesting. It's they'll be the winning team, but they're not going to be really in good term of their of them being attacked.
Yeah, we've seen that before. There's been times, most of the times when tag teams break up or they turn on each other, it's because one guy costs the other guy the match or whatever, and then of course the guy gets pissed, attacks him and whatever. But yeah, there's been a couple of cases where it's kind of confusing. It's just out of nowhere, like the guys, girls, whoever won the match, you think that they would be on top of the world because they won, and then bam, double cross anyway. I'm done with you or whatever or something. So you never know. I mean, the thing is that big cinematic match they had, the Elite versus the Inner Circle outside in the football field and all that shit, they kept teasing that Omega was going to do something, that he was going to super kick Hangman or the Young Bucks, or he was going to do something, some kind of betrayal, and he just held back or something. I don't know. So like Johnny says, maybe they'll still win. And when you think like, oh yeah, these guys are good, these guys are bros, you know, they're all good, and then all of a sudden, bam, Omega hits him with the V trigger and shit, and you know, I mean, that could be.
I definitely see the logic of the idea of Paige and Kenny kind of each weaken their style and their gimmick a little bit and end up going separate ways. Like you said, Omega Paige, they've had the belts for a while, and FTR, you know, they're the new kids on the block. They're coming from this great big organization up north, brother, and they didn't really get a chance to shine like they should have, and now they have that opportunity. I just think it all makes too much sense. I think FTR is going to win the tag belts. And I just think that they really are going to be... I think AEW is going to look to establish them as a dominant team the way they should have been a dominant team for the last couple of years. I don't see any way that doesn't happen, but we'll see.
All right, so it looks like everyone's going for FTR, including Jack Knives, and Johnny is the outlier with Kenny Omega and Hangman. So next we got this big 4-on-4 tag match. We got the Dark Order, which is Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, Colt Cabana, and Mr. Brody Lee, the current TNT champion, versus the Natural Nightmares, which are Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall, and Scorpio Sky, and Matt Cardona, who is, of course, formerly known as Zack Ryder. And Jack Knives gave it to the Dark Order. In my opinion, I also gave it to the Dark Order because Brody Lee just won the title. He has to show his power. He has to show his dominance. And, of course, these are the better ones of the Dark Order. You know, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, they started it all. Colt Cabana's got to, you know, show off his skills, earn his keep and everything. And I do apologize, Mr. Rikki Roxx, but with the possible exception of Scorpio Sky, the Nightmares, they're kind of sort of like glorified jobbers, unfortunately.
Well, you know, it's tough to reconcile that with the QT Marshall. I've known him for over 10 years, and I mean, he is a little strange still because I'm used to mostly seeing him work a heel, God's gift to wrestling and all of that, but it's always been great to me. Really helped me a lot on the way up. I worked with him, wrestled him at least once in a tag. Always got along really well with him. I'm really happy to see him in a prominent spot. So I kind of feel like he's just been waiting to break out. And maybe this could be an opportunity to do that. I'd love to see it. I like the team with Dustin. I know he's got to be thrilled about it, so I'm happy for him. We caught up a little bit back at the Monster Factory show. One of the factory shows earlier in the year he came down for. We had some catching up. Good times. So I'm happy for him. I really think he's just been looking for that opportunity to break out, and I think this could be the match. I really think Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and the Nightmares are going to take it. I got a lot of reasons for that. Although you never know, the Dark Order, they got the ace in the hole. They got Evil Uno, right?
Yeah.
So that could be big because, when you're playing Uno and you already have 4, and then you draw 4, then you're fucked.
No,
and that's pretty evil. That's pretty fucking evil Uno right there, is when you drop a draw 4.
Okay.
Especially when they already got 4. So that could be in their advantage. But otherwise, I think Matt Cardona, he's a shiny new toy, underutilized and underappreciated in WWE for the last however many years. When you go all the way up to the top of this company, and you got guys like Cody, and I'm not knocking him for this, I'm just saying that it's something you could obviously see. There's a core and a foundation in this company where they like to kind of showcase people who weren't treated right before. They like to bring them in and shine them up. So I feel like Zack Ryder / Matt Cardona, I think they're going to want to make him look really good in his first big match for them. So I think that works in that team's favor. Although one thing I agreed with Jack Knives about, even though he called it for the Dark Order, and I'm calling it for the other side, I don't think Brody Lee or Matt Cardona are going to take the pin. No matter which team wins, I think somebody else is going to take the loss. But I'm going to say that Sky, Matt, Dustin, and Marshall take it. That's my pick.
Yeah. Now, one thing I do want to add, though, is that now that you had this last-minute match of, what's it called, Private Party and the Dark Order, I'm thinking, I mean, they can't lose both. So, like, if Private Party defeats the Dark Order, okay, fine, they're the lesser guys. But if the Nightmares defeat the Dark Order in this match too, then again that ruins the seriousness that they're supposed to have as this big faction.
That's a good point. If they lose one, they're probably going to win the other one. But I think I pulled out. I think it's a pick 'em either way. But I think if they lose on the pre-show, I think that gives us a good idea who's going over on the main show. What do you think, Johnny?
Okay. So I'm not too entirely here, but I don't know. I'm still gonna give it a shot with Natural Nightmares.
Yeah, I think that's gonna. I mean, I think they need it more, but we'll see. Sometimes it's just who wants it more.
Yeah, there you go.
I kind of agree with you. Like, Matt Cardona didn't really got promoted proper. AEW is about making people shine, giving people a chance. We're a more ethical company and all that kind of stuff. So, I think, AEW, they're going to try to go more that angle.
And I'm not even mad at them for doing it because, it gives them a sense of not just identity, but also it appeals to the workers. Like, look, you guys were over there and maybe you were making money, but you weren't really being presented the best possible way. But look, we've been there too. So come work with us, we'll take good care of you because we know exactly what you're going through. And they all, Dustin and Jericho and Cody, they all kind of come from that mentality. So I ain't even mad at them.
And it's like the real world because, like, who would you rather work for? Would you work to be like, like the WWE type company, or would you rather work with AEW? Choice is very clear on that one. So, this is also very reflective on the, on the work culture that happens a lot in real life. That, hey, there's places that they don't really care much for their employees, and there's places that they do care more about their employees. They want to make sure they're taken care of.
So on the flip side, you could always say the same thing about Brody Lee as well. My counter to that in this match is simply that Matt Cardona showed up more recently, and generally speaking, that works to your favor in these kind of situations. They want to, if it comes down to the two of them, it's like, well, you're going to make the new toy look good because now the spotlight's pressure on them. And also, who's going to bounce back better from a loss? Even though I don't think if the Dark Order loses, I don't think Brody Lee will take the pin. But if his team loses, he'll still be fine. So I think all of that plays into who's going over in this one, brother.
Yeah. And also in the way it works for Brody Lee, it makes him look more intense. Like the thing is, like the Dark Order, well, I guess now they got Colt Cabana too, but before they brought in Colt and they brought in Anna Jay, it was mostly Evil Uno and Stu Grayson and a bunch of nameless people, and most of the time the nameless people would be the ones that Brody would yell at and scream at, and you're doing it wrong or whatever, and then don't eat until I'm done with my steak first and all that shit and all the vignettes. And one time I was on the phone with Johnny talking, whatever, our stuff, real life stuff, whatever, but the TV was on. I literally stopped because I don't know what happened in that episode of Dynamite or whatever, but Brody flipped his shit and actually attacked Stu Grayson and Evil Uno. He was that pissed, and I was like, holy fuck, hold on, Johnny. Brody Lee's attacking Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. What the fuck? Because those are his like top guys, and he got so mad. Even they're not exempt. So
They pulled the Raven gimmick.
yeah.
All right, so sounds like it's a pick'em here.
Yeah, Mark and
Sounds like it's 2-2.
yeah, me and the Knives. I don't know why I said my own name there, but me and Knives got the Dark Order, Rikki Roxx and Johnny Rodriguez, Johnny R. There we go, Rock and Johnny R. Got the Nightmare Family. So let's see. So next we've got Hikaru Shida, the current AEW Women's Champion, going up against Thunder Rosa, who actually came in to directly challenge the champ. And again, the AEW Women's Championship is on the line. So yeah, I'll let you guys go first and see what you think.
Well, I know Jack had a million great reasons for why he picked Thunder Rosa, and I really couldn't argue with any of that. He's more familiar with the work of both of them than I am, and he made a lot of great points for Rosa, which I agreed with. So I kind of deferred to him and his wisdom on that. There was great points to be made for either, but I've seen a lot spoken of her more recently, and it seems kind of like people are a little high on her right now, so I'm going to say, yeah, we'll go with that. I'm going to call it for Thunder Rosa.
Yeah. And, I mean, Knives did bring up the good point that in Hikaru Shida's defense, if she does drop the title to Thunder Rosa, it does show that she's so good they have to bring someone else from the outside to take her down. And it's true. I mean, they are running out of people to throw at her for the title, you know? So,
well,
I guess
when TNA would switch it would usually be something like that also. You know, like somebody was beating everybody and then somebody would show up and, you know, take it pretty quick. So yeah, there's precedent for it.
Yeah. But in my case, what my vote was, I'm still rooting for my bae, Hikaru Shida. Yeah, I just feel, and I know that's weird in a sense because, you know, the pay-per-views for AEW are not as like ongoing and monotonous like the WWE one. So it feels like forever ago when she defeated what's her name, Nyla Rose, to get the title, for her to drop it so fast in the next pay-per-view and everything. And I think she had a big matchup against, like a big rematch against Nyla Rose. And even I was like, oh my god, please don't make her get the title back so soon. But no, she persevered and she got it. And I mean, I know that if you watch Dynamite, she is defending the title a lot. She had fought a lot of people. But I don't know, man. Like pay-per-view wise, I feel it's just too soon for her to drop the title. I would, of course, want this to be one of the best matches on the card. I mean, the women need it, you know. To have this match be like the best one on the card, that'd be fucking awesome. Have Thunder Rosa maybe get a rematch somehow or whatever. Maybe, you know, cut it so close, make it look like Hikaru Shida still won by the skin of her teeth or something. But I still want Shida to have the title. He's a little bit longer. I just love her red Tifa outfit. Her Blaze fielding crossover with Tifa Lockhart outfit. So I don't know. I hope she wins, but we'll see.
So you're saying the champ retains?
Yeah, I hope the champ retains. How about you, Johnny R?
Right. So, yeah, this is like those matches that, I mean, they're both really good, you know, wrestling, agile, and they have, you know, they're just like really great talented. This is the kind of that it's gonna probably kind of those long matches. It's gonna be like they're gonna really battle it out to the end and give it all they give in that match. But I don't know. I still think this is like the kind of match where either one of them can win, and whoever loses would still be somebody that could have won, but for whatever reason still lost the match, It's those kind of, very. But I don't know. I think Thunder Rosa might have a shot, but again, Hikaru Shida, like if she loses, so be like she could have still won the match, but Thunder Rosa still did something in the end that still made her the champion. I don't know what you think.
So who is the choice though?
Strong either way.
Yeah, but which one is your choice though?
No, that's what I said. I said Thunder Rosa.
Oh, okay. Okay, so once again, I'm all alone here. Everyone, including Jack Knives, voted for Thunder Rosa, and I got Hikaru Shida. And yeah, it's like what you guys raised a point earlier. That was something we discussed a bit last night, that with the WWE pay-per-views happening like almost every other week, it's more noticeable. But the AEW ones, they're only going to be, I guess there's going to be only 4. They're only going to be 4 per year. And it just feels so stretched out, like Full Gear was in November, like, geez. And Double or Nothing was like in May or something. It just feels so spread out and everything that, like, if you go by pay-per-view logic, it just feels like Hikaru just won the title. I don't want her to drop it, but I guess you gotta take into consideration, the regular Dynamite episodes too and everything.
It's like I said, the same thing happened really, back in the day if you were a WWF fan and all you watched was the videotapes of the pay-per-views. Rick Rude, he won the Intercontinental belt from the Warrior at WrestleMania 5, and then he lost it to him at the next pay-per-view, which was SummerSlam. Now you're like 5 months apart on that, but if all you go by is the pay-per-views, it's like, wow, the guy just won it and he lost it already? But he really defended it like 100 times in between. You just, it's this weird kind of alternate flow of time kind of thing.
Or at least back then when when they did space it out more, not this fucking every other. I mean, that's the thing though, when Raw and SmackDown separated, then they started the nonsense with, well, let's have a Raw and SmackDown pay-per-view every month. They're like, oh fuck no, I got so tired of it. Because, you see, the thing I like about AEW pay-per-views is that they're Saturday night. So, okay, we have a fun Saturday night. You hang out with the guys, get some beers, whatever, and all that stuff. Or maybe in this case, my brother and I will do the whole video thing like we did with Bill and Ted 3. But, it's Saturday night, okay? You still have Sunday. You can still relax Sunday. You don't have to go back to work. Like, these pay-per-views, like fucking WrestleMania and SummerSlam especially, are almost 8 or almost 10 fucking hours of non-stop wrestling, because sometimes the pre-show is almost 3 hours long too, and that's not even like the actual event. And then like the main event goes on for however fucking long it goes on, and it's like past midnight, and you still gotta go to work the next morning and shit, and like, I didn't even drink, but I'm hungover in the sense that I only had like a few hours sleep because of damn wrestling and whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you on that shit. I barely, watch it that often, but it takes fucking all day, especially the big ones, and it's like, jeez.
And that's the thing. So you gotta do whatever you gotta do early in the day, because
your whole fucking day now.
Around past noon or so, it's time to kind of settle down and, start buying snacks or order takeout, make some whatever you plan to do. I remember one year we made some like mini burgers with like hamburger sliders or whatever. We made just a crazy amount of them, just to have them to munch on during the event. But yeah, you gotta now make plans and clean up, set the table, get the TV ready, whatever. And that's the whole fucking day. And then back to work tomorrow. And at least AEW, if you do shit like that, like the one time Johnny and I, we were over at another friend, Chuck Rodriguez's house. We were there. We drank and ate and whatever. But technically speaking, didn't count. He was on vacation, so we were all on vacation. But I mean, if we had work, we would not have been going to work the next day. We have all of Sunday to veg out and chill and whatever before getting ready for the grind on Monday.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in all at once.
And so on that note, when you find out, like, you know, oh man, the pay-per-views this weekend, oh fuck, there goes the day, you know, and it gets annoying, you know, because like you said, that someone told you something, you were saying, didn't they just have one last week, or something like,
Ugh.
yeah. So anyways, now we got the two big events here actually. So now we've got the first one is Chris Jericho Le Champion versus Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed, for the Mimosa Mayhem match. So basically, it's like the end of the little rubber band match they've been having. I guess this will settle the score once and for all between those two. This weird little rivalry they've been having. And to top it off, they got a giant vat of mimosa, which is basically a mixture of good old-fashioned orange juice and also a little bit of the bubbly. And whoever wins, either by pinfall, submission, or let's face it, you know they're going to dump him in the vat. Whoever dumps the other guy into the giant vat of mimosa wins the match. So Jack Knives voted for Orange Cassidy, and I'll leave it up to you guys. Who do y'all think's gonna win this one?
What do you say, Johnny?
Either or could win this match. Since it's such a gimmick, I haven't really changed my mind from last night, so I still, Le Champion still has a shot, but that's just my. So I would go with Chris Jericho.
Well, I would love to agree with that. However, I have been keeping a little bit more close attention on what's been going on with Pockets and Jericho lately.
Pockets.
Yeah. It's, you know, Orange Cassidy is an acquired taste, I guess, and I haven't acquired the taste just yet. But, you know, it's pretty obvious where they want this to go. And Jericho's kind of like in that phase where he's kind of giving back and putting the younger guys up on a bit of a pedestal and giving them a shine. And he's doing well with that. It kind of feels like this whole feud is tailored to that end, is to get Orange Cassidy over. And they had the big debate a couple weeks ago and all of that. And ultimately, when you have a gimmick match like this, or a hog pen match, or a gravy bowl match, or whatever, a lingerie match, the ending visual is usually the point of the match. You start from what the finish is going to be, which is usually humiliate the heel, and work backwards from there. So, in a mimosa match, you got to figure the point of it is we want to see Jericho doused in whatever and throwing a fit and pouting and being, you know, the crybaby heel that he's so good at being. If Cassidy takes the spill, it's not funny, right? It's just a thing that happens. So, through gritted teeth, even though I'm a much, much bigger fan of Chris Jericho, I feel like the entire gimmick and layout of the match points to Orange Cassidy being the one who takes it. I wish I could say Jericho, but I have to say Orange Cassidy just because of the kind of match it is and what they're probably trying to do with it.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I guess with all this stuff and due to the huge the huge fan base that Orange Cassidy has. Hey, with a great one, Stumble. The fan base that Orange Cassidy has, I mean, they're gonna absolutely rock the house if he wins. And, you know, yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that till you guys brought it up. It was between you and Knives, I think, that the best and funnier reaction is Jericho falling in the mimosa and you know, throwing a tantrum and ranting and no, and all that stuff. And I'm saying, like, he plays like the villain, the cartoon villain, so well. He reminds me of Yosemite Sam in a sense. Like, I can see him being like, ooh, I hate that Cassidy and whatever, you know.
Nobody throws a tantrum like Jericho.
Even back in his Lionheart days when he was all whiny and everything, because you never, ever beat me again or whatever. Even back then.
He's one of the best there ever was at that.
Yeah. And, I remember that too. That was a very, very, very clever thing. The first episode of Dynamite, when Jericho first came in and started talking big about how AEW's, you know, his, because of him, like, you know, you owe him a thank you and whatever. I forgot whatever he said, but he still threw in the never ever part. And I'm like, there it is. Because, I mean, that was his WCW gimmick. It's back on TNT. Jericho's there. It was like perfect. That he little throwback there. But, Yeah, it just makes more sense. Orange Cassidy's going to win because he's the most loved one, and Jericho can afford a loss. And I guess it's just funnier to see him lose. But again, you got to keep in mind we got to see what happens. There's going to be shenanigans. I'm assuming the best friends will come into the rescue if, like, what are those guys, Brian and Powerful, come in, cheat, like the best friends to keep them in line or whatever, because you know they're going to come in, you know. But yeah, it'll be a hard, tough battle, but Orange Cassidy will probably take it.
So it sounds pretty straight up on that. I think we all pretty much.
Well, except for Johnny. Johnny's still going for a Le Champion, so we'll see if he's correct.
Sweep it. Watch. Johnny's predictions are going to sweep it because he's the outlier on everything, so he's going to be the one who gets everything right. You watch.
Yeah, the last time we had this prediction, Johnny almost won. I think he was just off by 1 or something. Oh, if it wasn't for... There was another... I forgot, it wasn't the Casino Royale, but it was a Casino Royale. Yeah, it was. Due to that one, where no one could really predict the winner, we were basically all wrong and stuff. If it wasn't for that, Johnny would have won the last prediction because of his thoughts and stuff. But yeah, I don't know how, but somehow Macho Taco predicted that Brian Cage is going to be the mystery guy to win it all that last time. But anyways, the final match we had here, the main event, I'm assuming, because this is a title match as opposed to Jericho and Orange Cassidy, I don't know, double main event, whatever, but the main event I'm assuming is Jon Moxley, the current AEW champ, going up against MJF. And yeah, you did remind me of that. I forgot about that. That MJF brought in his lawyers or whatever the hell, and I guess they banned Moxley from using the paradigm shift during the match. So let's see what happens. And in my case, I think, well, first of all, Knives voted for Moxley. I voted for MJF because he's got a good build-up now. I mean, now might be the time. And also because Moxley, I don't really see what else they can do with him. And I don't know what's going on. Like, when Moxley first came in, I guess he was more of a, I don't know, a heel, I guess. Because he attacked Omega, I guess makes him a heel. I don't know. But he just came in, caused destruction, and he had all of these non-sanctioned matches and broken glass and barbed wire and stuff. I noticed that after a while, like, now they I don't know what's going on, or parents complain or whatever, but we haven't seen many of those matches anymore. And now since he's been champion, we haven't seen anything like that anymore. So I don't really know what else we can do with him, really. So MJF, I can just see him making a big to-do about kissing his ass because he's the champion, and his quote-unquote political campaign and whatever other stupid shenanigans he'll come up with, and people bowing to him and whatever. It just kind of reminds me of like Jericho, basically like Jericho's run as a champ, right? But in his own way. So I just see MJF winning, and I really don't know what they'll do with him if he loses. Like, what's next for him if he loses?
Well, that's an interesting point, too, but you got to figure always something would be the answer to that. I mean, he could go any number of places. Knives and I also were speculating a little bit about how the winner of the Battle Royal, whoever that could be, could also be a factor in what comes next title-wise, because they're going to want a shot. They could interfere in the title match in some way. So what's interesting about this show is that you've got certain things that connect, and, well, if this goes one way, then this might go the other way. So that's pretty cool. I personally think that Moxley is going to take it specifically because of the story they're trying to tell. They banned his finishing move. Usually, when they do that to the babyface, the story of the match is that he's going to overcome the odds, and he's going to pull something out from deep in the pocket, maybe one of his older finishers he hasn't used in 100 years. But I kind of see it going that way. Usually when you stack the deck against the hero triumphs and comes out the victor in spite of everything. So just since that's the story it seems like they want to tell, I'm going to give it to Moxley, even though I'm not a huge fan, and he wouldn't normally be somebody I'd be all in on, so to speak. I think that based on the scenario they presented, I think that's how it's going to go. I'm going to say Jon Moxley retains and possibly goes into a feud with whoever wins the Battle Royal.
I don't know. I'm gonna give MJF a shot. See gonna. I mean, I don't know. I see he's gonna do a lot of loopholes and do a lot of cheating match. So I think he's gonna, fight Ricky Dirty to be able to win this match. Wait, I see.
So it sounds like we got another split decision here.
Yeah, we got the Rodriguez brothers going with MJF, and Knives and Roxx going with Moxley. Now, Knives did bring up a good point, though. Like, since Moxley does have a kind of a different style, and he kind of, he does things you don't expect and everything. Like, one thing that would be kind of cool is that if Wardlow was there, as always, protecting MJF, one thing he could do is immediately come in before the match officially starts and beat the ever-living shit out of Wardlow to just take him out of the match. Eliminate that leverage and just start the match proper now a one-on-one, because you no longer have Wardlow in your corner to do your little cheap shots and whatever.
That's definitely one way they could run with that. I mean, I forgot to mention, like I did yesterday, you can't discount who's on the outside. We were talking before about the tag title match, and FTR, they have Tully Blanchard with them, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah,
that was another reason I gave for why I think they're going to win the belts, is because you can't underestimate the importance of having somebody in your corner. And MJF could benefit from that, but like you just said, Moxley could just as well come in and take him out of the equation right off the bat. So either way, that's going to be an interesting wrinkle in the scenario. But I still think Moxley's going to take it, just because I think they're going to shoot him off to somebody else. But we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, the one cool thing about this show is that pretty much every match, with the exception of maybe one or two, is pretty up in the air. Like, you can make a good case for it to go either way. There's not a lot of foregone conclusion matches like there usually are with those other wrestling companies where half the card is like, well, I figure out how this is going to go.
Hey. I don't know what you're talking about, but you better not be implying my company, okay? My company is such good shit. And that's why I'm never going to hire you. If I hire you, if I ever get desperate enough to hire you, I'll make you work alongside Heath Slater and Bo Dallas. In fact, since I got rid of EC3, I'll put you there sitting down with a little cup in the Usos party.
I think what makes AEW different is because I really do feel like, especially like in all these matches, with a few exceptions, I think these wrestlers are tremendously talented, extremely powerful. So I don't, because like at the other company, there's usually a really good wrestler, and then there's always kind of like not all cases, but in a lot of matches, there's always like a jobber here and there. So it makes it very like predictable. Like, okay, like there's no way that wrestler, that wannabe, is gonna win the match. The one they're mostly rooting for, right? But here, like all these wrestlers are actually really, really, really good, like on their own. Like they really stand on their own. So it's really kind of like hard to figure out who's actually going to win this match. It's these matches, because they're both like that good. Like they're like, I would say they're both like they're.
There's definitely a lot of parity in the roster between, everybody on one side of the column, the other side. You could pretty much flip a coin on the whole card. And I think that's going to make it pretty engaging. There's not a lot of, this one's going over. You can guess, but you can make a good case either way, all the way down to the undercard stuff on the buy-in. So you're like, it could go like this, or it could go like that. And you can come up with a whole paragraph why in either case. So that's pretty good. I like that they've been doing all right with that. I definitely have some problems with their overall presentation sometimes, but they do pretty good at trying to keep things at a certain sense of parity with everybody else. Like, nobody's too far ahead of the other guy they're facing to the point where it's a foregone conclusion. That's always good. You should always have to guess and really think about, who's going over and why. It shouldn't be forecasted.
Yeah, that was good. And also, I mean, they haven't been around for that long, you know, so everything is still very fresh, you know, everything still feels fresh and new, and you don't have, like, I don't know, the 50th match between Kenny Omega and Jericho or something. It's very whatever, and I do like how, like, Jericho moves on to other people, but he still has a problem with the Elite. So once in a while, there will be a random Elite versus Inner Circle match. It kind of reminds you that while their initial feud is over, yeah, these guys still are not crazy about each other, and they still want to beat the crap out of each other and shit like that. So I don't know. It just feels fresher, feels newer. I mean, obviously, we can't say the same thing maybe 5 years down the line, but at least now we're not there yet. We're not there where these guys have fought 10,000 times, you know. Like, you got probably Orton feuding with, I don't know, let's say Daniel Bryan or something, and you're kind of like, oh, again. And, yeah.
Well, one thing I like about AEW also feel like, and I'm pretty sure everybody agrees with this one at this point, I think storytelling on point for the most part. Hers, the other. It has just gotten really city at this point, and you know, let's just face it, WWE is just way too commercial, and I think that the thing that makes AEW stands out is that they're starting to get more commercial, but they're not overdoing it. Like, they're still pretty much ringing in a circle. Like, it's pretty much like back to the basic wrestling was about wrestling.
Now, of course, what pisses me the fuck off, though, is how damn rare their AEW action figures are. That pisses me off. That's, like, if you want to compete and whatever, like, I understand AEW is awesome and it's, like, niche, I guess, but don't make it that niche, okay? I want to go to the store and see the figures. I don't want them fucking sold out, and at first I was kind of pissed when I went to Walmart and I saw that, there were no figures, so I figured, well, we're not in the largest town, so, you know, maybe whatever, you know. But no, the last time I saw, they were selling, like, the AEW belt and just the AEW ring, and when I took a closer look at the empty pegs, I'm like, oh, it said AEW this, AEW that. I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers. You just had like a few, they bought them, and you guys don't have any plans of restocking them anytime soon. And it's fucking annoying, man. And I don't know whose dumbass idea was to make them a Walmart exclusive, because now I can't even buy them off of Amazon or anywhere. Like, you just have to get them at Walmart, but they're all gone, you know. And
do you buy them, like, online?
No. When you go to the online, like, Walmart store, it always says sold out anyway. So that whatever. I found some.
Okay, so maybe that's the part they have to do a lot better.
Yes. I found a wrestling site. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I don't know if it's 100% wrestling or it's just like to buy wrestling figures, because it's also WWE and all that crap. But yeah, they got AEW figures on pre-order, but of course the prices are just a little bit, not crazily, but they're still more expensive than if you just bought them at the store to kind of take advantage and all that. But like, you got to put a pre-order down for Wave 2 and wait till fucking like mid-October or some shit for the next line to come out, and it's stupid.
The thing you said is the unfortunate reality of the industry, because, you know, since I've gotten a little bit back heavier into collecting the past few months, I keep a little closer eye on things than I used to. And the sad thing is that when it comes to why certain brands are exclusive, like, oh, this is a Target exclusive, this is a Walmart exclusive, you know, the market is a lot smaller than it used to be. And there's fewer places to even sell toys in the first place. I mean, Toys R Us went out of fucking business. Whoever could have predicted that?
Yeah, that's
10
true.
years ago. And it's just the fact of the matter is the market for people buying toys is smaller, and it's changed. It used to be it's all for little kids, and their mommy and daddy got to buy them for them, so they got to be available everywhere, or we won't sell any. And also, they got to be like $5 to $10. I was going through my storage the other day. I still have backing cards for almost all the action figures I ever owned, and you know, stuff like $5, $6, $7. And now I'm searching around. You know, the AEW stuff at Walmart is like $15, $20. You know, and the thing is, now it's not necessarily kids buying toys; it's adults. Kids have different interests now. Not exclusively, but the market's changed in response to who's actually going nuts over these things. I mean, who even watches AEW, right? It's not little kids. It's that 18 to 35 demo, brother. And so they know that. So they can charge a little more for them. And as far as being exclusive to certain locations, it's just a matter of, well, we're probably not going to sell 1 million of these figures. So do we print 1 million and try to get them into every store? Or do we print a few and put them out in one store and just see what's going to happen? They're made by Jazzwares, which, you know, these figures are pretty cool, but Jazzwares historically is not a particularly good toy company. So...
Oh.
Yeah,
I mean, they look pretty cool, though. They look like they got good articulation and all that.
These look like the best toys I've ever seen Jazzwares do. But the other thing they're most famous for was like their Sonic toys, which were pretty bad.
Oh, Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah. And I remember seeing them come up on a bunch of lists over the years for like worst toy company.
Yeah, oh boy.
So these look like a real huge leap forward compared to the stuff that they used to do. And they pretty much look on par with the Mattel figures in a lot of ways, so I'm cool with that. It's just, there's reasons why they're not as easy to get as they maybe should be. The same thing's happening right now with the He-Man Origins figures. That I got a He-Man and Skeletor in my hand right now. They're great. They're also a Walmart exclusive. They also retail for $15, but good luck finding them. I got my one buddy at the flea market who hooks me up at Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore. Like, they got a Battle Cat in last week, so I snatched that up. A week before that, they had the Prince Adam and Sky Sled vehicle pack. I just swooped in and grabbed that. But, you know, technically...
Wasn't that called, like, the Wind Raider or something, or...
Well, I mean, Mattel's still making them. It's just, it's a retail line, but they haven't done a retail line.
No, I mean, but the Sky Sled, wasn't it called the Wind Raider, or was that something else?
Oh, no, totally different vehicle. Totally different. They're going to do a new Wind Raider. They just haven't put it out yet. But so, in theory, I could go to Walmart, and I'm actually going tomorrow. If I find any AEW figures, I'm going to flip. But I got to go to Walmart tomorrow to get groceries, so I always look and see. In theory, I should be able to just go pick up Man-at-Arms while I'm there, right? But I don't think I'm going to see him. I don't think he's going to be there. So I'm at the mercy, just like with these AEW figures. I'm clicking around. They're $15 in the stores. You're going to pay like $35, $40 on eBay for these fucking things. That's the business now. That's the name of the toy game. It sucks, but there's less product being put on the shelves in the first place, and the market is more niche. And so, this being the first line and the first, like, articulated figures of certain characters like Kenny and the Bucks, people are going to snatch them right up. So, maybe the Wave 2 and 3 might be easier to get, because that usually happens, too. When a set comes out, it's usually the first set of figures, and then, God forbid, when the set gets canceled, the very last set of figures. Those are usually the hardest ways to find. I did see the ring, though, but I didn't pick it up. The ring is easy to get. You can get the ring anywhere for like $20. Maybe if they have that, I'm such a fucking ring mark. I have too many of them. I got no place to put them all, but I just can't say no to them. They're so cheap and they're so pretty.
Now, when are they going to sell the Rikki Roxx and Joy Janela 2-pack set?
I don't think he'd consent to that. I don't think he'd want that set out there.
Well, what'd he say, though? He'd probably call you up like, yo, you seen this?
I mean, it'd be, at this point, how to tell which apart, because, I'm not going to say that he bit my gimmick. I'm just kind of... He used to look different before I showed up. That's...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he used to have a totally different persona, and then I took a break, and then, It is what it is. I wasn't an original either. I pretty much cribbed all my stuff from other people, so it happens.
Well, didn't they say that even Hogan got his gimmick based off this other dude that also had like the similar beard and whatever? And
he pretty much ripped off superstar Billy Graham,
yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
And he pretty much ripped off Dusty Rhodes for everything else. But the ring work was all Dusty Rhodes, but the gimmick was superstar Billy Graham.
The whole let me tell you something, brother, like all that.
Well, partly that, yeah. I think Graham was probably the only guy who could drop more brothers in a sentence than Hogan. So yeah, that's probably all that. And then with Dusty, Hogan ripped off all the stuff of taunting the heels after a big move, or like he would cheat and do something dirty and they just look out to the crowd like, who, me? He got all that from Dusty. Because Dusty was notorious with that. He'd kick it. He'd tell the ref to go check the time. He'd just kick the guy in the balls, and the fans would cheer. And he'd be like, "I didn't do nothing, baby." And Hogan always did that too, even as a babyface. So, it was pretty obvious. It's fun when you know what you're looking at and you see these things. It's like, hey, that's cool.
So I guess it wraps it up for this event here. Yeah, we got some good predictions. AEW will be, it'll be tomorrow. I'll try my very best to get all this edited and done, obviously before the event, so you guys can hopefully hear this. I'm actually working a little bit tonight to get this started. But yeah, you guys should be hearing this before the event to kind of compare and contrast our opinions. All of them are pretty much the same from our first take. I think Johnny was the only one that changed his mind on one of them. So we'll see what happens there. And again, we had this random match that was just thrown in there that didn't exist yesterday, so that's kind of interesting there. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see who wins. We'll see who loses, Jackknives or whoever. And we're gonna get a big vat of mimosa for him and then dump him in there if he loses. If he loses the thing.
I still think they should have to sign up for Sonny's OnlyFans.
Oh my God, no.
And the winner signs up for Sarah Underwood's OnlyFans.
Oh God. Well, the loser would sign up for Vicky Guerrero's OnlyFans.
Oh God, no!
And when you push the button to like sign up, you're excuse me. Oh man.
Wow.
Hey, we're not PC, and that's why YouTube will kick us out. Hopefully not. But anyways, yeah, that's it for now, guys. And I do appreciate you guys coming over for a second take. Let's hope everything comes out better this time. And yeah, there we go. And any final closing things? I'm going to close by saying this is Mark Rodriguez here. See you next time. Oh, I also want to remind you to check out Jackknife's channel. There was also a very cool podcast episode we made between me, Jackknives, Rikki Roxx, and also Joopy. We all talked about like our favorite like collectible things, like what kind of things that we collect. And we went from action figures to pogs to all kinds of random shit. So check that one out. I'll put the link below so you can watch that video as well. Because hey, the more stuff with Rikki Roxx, the better, right?
That's what we try to put out there. And on the subject of toys and collectibles, we finally got our new laptop for cutting some footage. So we're going to have a bunch of new episodes of the Rikki Roxx From the Vault retro action figure show coming at you on YouTube in the very near future. We got a few in the can already, just got to be cut and spliced, and we have a few hundred more to do. The mail's been piling up, so a lot to look forward to on that. So Rikki Roxx signing off from the Diving Cutter podcast, and if you can't be good, be bad, baby.
And this is Johnny Rodriguez. Thanks for the invite. This is a very cool podcast, and I had a good time. And yeah, see you guys next time.
We'll be in it to win it. Rock on, baby.